Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a first impressions video on the Hello Flawless Oxygen Wow Brightening Makeup by Benefit. And I've heard a lot about this foundation. I heard it from ShannonXO on here on YouTube, and I just heard a lot of hype about this foundation. First of all, sorry about my wet hair. I just got out of the shower and I really don't like to blow dry it because I don't like to put heat on it. So I'm just letting it air dry, so I'm sorry about that. The packaging is, I always thought it looked kind of cheap. It looks kind of like a drugstore foundation, just like the way it is, but I actually really do like the packaging now. I've kind of grown to like it. I like that it's clear and you can see the color that is in there, which is really nice. And as you use this, when you start to pump it out, it starts to go up. So you see how much product is left in here, and it doesn't waste as much product. Also, there is a pump on this, which is really, really nice, and it doesn't dispense too much product. And this is an oil-free SPF of 25, which is really good because this should be pretty good in the summertime as well. The color that I have here, I got Ivory, and this is the lightest color they have. And usually I'm not the lightest color in the line. There's also 8 other shades of this foundation, but I am the lightest shade, and I hopefully it'll be a pretty good match. I only tested it out on my hand at Sephora, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll be okay. But I did go to Sephora last night to pick this up. I actually wasn't even going to get it, but I have been kind of eyeing this for a little bit, so I went ahead and picked it up. This retailed for $36. It has 1 fluid ounce, which is the normal standard for foundation. Some of the claims that it has is that it says it's a brightening oil-free liquid foundation that builds from light to medium coverage with a broad spectrum of 25 SPF. It says that it's hydrating and it's luminizing, and the natural finish foundation builds from light to medium coverage for a natural complexion and features light diffusing properties and hydrating benefits. Its nourishing formula contains Benefit's exclusive Oxygen Wow Hydrating Complex, which helps boost cellular respiration for a plumping up visual effect, protects against environmental stresses, and contains vitamin C and E derivatives known to prevent the sign of aging. So I guess that this is a luminous foundation, but it does say it's oil-free, so I do have oily skin, but I do know some girls that use it that are oily and they really, really love this foundation. So we'll see how this holds up throughout the day today. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a primer, and this is the Benefit Professional primer, and I just have a little sample size. I'm just going to take a little bit and put that on my nose and the areas where my pores are more enlarged. I really, really do love this primer. I don't own the full size of it because I have a mini version of it actually that I got in a 500 reward gift from Sephora. So I don't have the full size because I want to kind of use that up. And now I have this one, which is really nice. But I really love this. It's not greasy on the skin. It just feels really silky smooth. Okay, now moving on to the foundation, I'm going to squirt a pump on my hand. And this is like liquidy-ish. It's running down my hand, but it's not super liquidy and it's not creamy. So I really like the texture of this, I feel like. So I'm just going to dot it on my face like I always do with my foundations. And then I'm going to use the Beauty Blender to blend it in because I usually use the Beauty Blender. Now it does say it is a light to medium buildable coverage, so it's super easy to blend in. I'm using a little bit more just for the one side of my face. Okay, so that is one side of my face covered with the foundation, and as you can see, it covered up a lot of my redness, like pretty much all my redness, just with one layer. And I mean, as you can see, it's a huge difference. And if it seems a little bit more than light coverage, and I don't think it's overly luminous at all. I think it's beautifully, like perfectly glowy, but it's not super oily or super dewy. I actually really like the finish of it. I would say it's a natural finish actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face. Okay, now that I finished all of my face with this foundation, I do have a little bit of redness peeking through here, and it didn't cover my zit completely on this side, but it does, this is just one layer, and it does say it's pretty light. So I think it did a really pretty good job overall covering the imperfections on my face. I'm going to go in and see if it is a buildable foundation coverage. So I'm going to add a little bit more here in my redness, and I'm going to put a little bit over my zit to see if it covers it. Okay, so I do think this is buildable. It definitely covered the redness in my nose area where I didn't cover before. And it covered up my zit pretty well. I don't see any redness. Of course, it's hard to mask the texture of a pimple, but it did a really good job. And looking up close, it looks really, really good. It doesn't look really cakey or anything. And like I said, I have oily skin, so I was expecting this to be a little bit more luminous, but I'm actually really, really happy with the way it looks. It looks a pretty natural coverage and finish of this foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. And I'm back with my makeup done, and everything looks really, really good. I did add some concealer underneath my eyes, down my nose, and like the highlighting places, and then I set it with powder, but just in the areas that I concealed. I didn't put powder anywhere else. And my blush and bronzer went on really, really nicely. It didn't oxidize at all from the time I put it on. It matches really, really, really well, which I was very thankful about. Everything else looks really, really good. When I looked up close, it still looks pretty good. It didn't sink into any pores, but that could have been helping from the Benefit Professional that I put onto my face. Everything else looks really good. It's not overly luminous, and I actually think it's even less luminous than when I put it on. And I didn't put any highlighter on, but I did put a shimmery blush on. So if you see any light reflecting, it's just the blush that I have on. So it is now 11:18. And I'll probably check back in like an hour and then later on in the day. So I'll be back to check in a little bit. Hey guys, so I'm here for a check-in. It is now 12:35. And the makeup is holding up really, really well. I'm not seeing any blotchy or any shiny areas. Everything is looking really good. It's only been about an hour and a half. So I will check in at the end of the day to see how this is holding up.